Welcome to the Empowerment Minutes podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Maurine Kwende. This podcast equips leaders like you with practical tools, inspiration, and leadership insights to help you thrive in the workplace and in life. As you know, I am the CEO and founder of EMK Learning Solutions, and we help senior leaders develop their leadership pipeline, grow their skills, their teams, and also the workplace cultures. In our last episode of the Empowerment Minutes podcast, we talked about the law of the environment by Dr. John Maxwell and why growth needs the right conditions, the right environments for you to thrive. So we talked about your surrounding and how it shapes what can grow in you. So today we're going to be looking at specifically senior women leaders. I did create post an introductory post about this new project or program that we're working on. I will be sharing some more later on today. But for senior women leaders, one of the most critical elements of a thriving environment is having the right support that sustains their growth. So that's really what I started yesterday, and I opened this question. What supports the woman leader everyone depends on? And that's what we're really going to focus on today. So today's episode is titled The Unseen Leadership Weight, Lightening the Load. So what weight are you carrying as a leader? Senior women leaders are often the anchors of the organizations. And so they lead their teams, make decisions, manage expectations, navigating complexity, and they do all of this staying composed under pressure. But most often, these women who look so put together on the outside are carrying far more than people realize, and that is actually holding them back. So we're going to talk about this unseen weight and why lightening the load is not an option. It's really something that is helping you as a leader, even a woman leader, to lead well. So my goal for today is simple: to help you recognize the weight you may be carrying as a leader or a senior woman leader, and identify how lightening this load can help you, or how you can do this so that you can lead more sustainably. I know that it's something that I experienced in my own leadership journey, and so I want to encourage you to see and reflect on, or maybe even do an audit as you listen to this post today. So women leaders, or leaders in general, they're wanting to be seen or used to be being that capable, dependable, composed one, right? That is always holding things together, the cord that kind of like holds things together. But this comes with so much pressure, right, that most people usually don't see. And that is because they've been doing this for so long and do it well. So people naturally assume they're fine. But strength does not cancel out weight. Being capable doesn't mean that you should carry everything and everyone alone. So we're looking at sustainability, not weakness. Because if the woman is really carrying all of this, she's constantly depleted. She's running on fumes. She's carrying too much in silence. And obviously, there's going to be a price to pay. It's going to show up somewhere. So I'm going to give you an example. Imagine a senior woman leader, right? And I can take even me as an example when I was a leader in the workplace so many years ago. And I'm still a woman leader now, but I just want to refer to one time when I was a senior learning leader in the workplace, like many years ago, right? So I was caring so much. Of course, I had the respect. I was producing great results. I was leading at that optimal level, right? I was showing up for my team, also showing up for my family. At the time, even my kids were so young, showing up for them, my spouse, showing up for all the people, even in my community, that could count on me every day. So this might be you, right? Does it sound familiar? So from the outside, there's that picture of being very strong and steady. But many people don't see what's happening internally, right? There is that load that you're navigating. You're carrying that pressure. You're carrying that pressure of this constant demands that are changing. The pressure of holding it together for everybody else. At this point in time, you're just dealing with so much, right? And so there is that emotional weight of being the one who has to stay composed and have the answers and be that person that everybody looks up to. At the same time, you're having the tight deadlines, right? You have to be able to meet those deadlines. So you don't even think about stopping to ask whether this load, this pressure that you're carrying is sustainable. Is your health at risk? How are you feeling? So this is really that unseen leadership weight that most senior women leaders carry. I would say many leaders carry, but it's even more so for women. It may not always be visible to others, your peers, your senior leadership, but it is very real. And when this goes on for too long, right, what happens? How can you lead with clarity? How can you do this sustainably? So if this is what you're experiencing, I want to share with you one idea that you can take if you want to move forward. The strongest leaders are not the ones who carry the most in isolation. That is really not going to take you far. Before you know it, you're going to experience burnout, stress, and all that. How about you designing that environment that would support you and also be sustainable? And so this brings us back to the law of the environment that we shared last week. So if your current surroundings require you to constantly give and not, have anything that you want to look back or fall back on, you can't keep applying these old habits and expecting to thrive. You have to look at the conditions around you, your surrounding. What is your environment saying about the weight you're carrying? Right. Maybe it's time for you to ask yourself these questions. What weight am I carrying right now that I was never meant to carry alone? What have I normalized in my daily routine that is quietly draining me? What kind of support or environment do I actually need in order to keep going? So, that is the leadership is sustainable. Lightening that load. Imagine like if you're wanting to climb a mountain, right, and you have a full backpack. How far can you go with so much weight on your back, right? So lightening that load doesn't mean lowering your standards. That's not what we're talking about. We're not looking at compromising your work ethic, things like that. It does not mean you're becoming less capable. But it's about being intentional about yourself, how you're leading, what you're carrying. You need that room to think. You need space to progress. You need environments where you're actively strengthened, not just, being burdened or weighed down. So creating that right environment is the one way that you really want to ensure that your influence is sustainable. So here is what I'm challenging you to do. Take some time, step away from the noise, and really reflect on these questions that I just asked earlier on. What shifts do you need to make, right? So for example, what part of that weight let's just go back, like what leadership weight are you carrying now that it feels heavier than it needs to be? And what part of that weight can you share or, process or release? What shift can you make so that you begin to feel lighter? You can, to begin to lighten that load. And so what boundary do you need to put in place to make sure that it's sustainable? It might be saying no to any unnecessary task. It might be, scheduling time or white space so you can just think. It might be reaching out to someone you trust or building that environment so you can start getting that support. Don't wait until the weight turns into some exhaustion that can affect your health. You have to be able to have that honest conversation with yourself. So, as we close, just remember the weight may be unseen, but the impact on your life and your leadership is real. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. You don't have to prove your strength by doing everything alone. You can still be a strong, capable leader, but don't be afraid to ask for support and have that space, that strategy that can sustain you leading well. So if this conversation resonates with you, I want to share that I'm running a special briefing on June 10th, specifically created for senior women leaders. And it's titled The Hidden Cost of Leading Without Enough Support. In this briefing, we're going to go deeper into this and give you even more strategies. There's going to be a framework and all that to help you to start leading well. So I will be sharing the link in the show notes, but later on in the week, I will be posting even more on this topic as we explore having these conversations. All right? So until next time, keep leading with heart, protect your leadership environment, apply the law of the environment, and keep moving forward, one intentional step at a time. This is your host, Dr. Maurine Kwende, signing off. I'll see you same time next week. Have a wonderful day.